example, we want all door knocking campaigns, and I can see I've only set warm to those. But let's say I want to look at all the hot leads. What are all the hot leads in this example? If I change out all my filters, I go to motivation, I say, notice I didn't put any colds in here because my magic team doesn't deal with cold leads. So here are all the hot leads. These are all the campaigns in which I've got it set up, and it looks like I've only set them for bandit signs because we just got awesome bandit signs going on.
We're bandit sign killers over here.
And I only want to look at those under contract that were hot. There we go. If I want to do my warm ones that end up being under contract, I may have some there. You can play around with this to your heart's content, but this is just a quick tips and tricks on using filters to help take a look at what's going on. Now I want to move on to campaign reports, if we don't mind. So
it looks like there was like an interruption with our Facebook Live. So on the first half of the Facebook Live, we were basically showing the first half of this Excel, which is showing how you can be accountable with your team members and setting up goals for how many cold calls they want to make, how many bandit signs are they going to put out, how many appointments are we shooting to hit for this week. And then the second half of this Excel is actually keeping a specific track on each lead that you have in your company, on your team, so that every lead is being accounted for, and you can quickly, at a moment's notice, look at your leads and find out where it is in the process. Are we at an appointment? Are we at delivering an offer to the seller? How do we have a contract? Okay, we do. Then what's our scheduled closing date? What are we anticipating the wholesale fee is going to be for this one? So you know what income you have coming in or potentially coming in. And then you can also use this as a way to just keep on track of your team to make sure they're working their leads properly so that nothing is falling through the cracks. Your team members should be on top of their stuff, but you as the owner or you as the manager, depending on your situation, the responsibility ultimately falls on you so that no leads fall behind or no leads fall through the cracks. And what you'll find is that'll be the next hurdle that you need to get over. And using an Excel like this is going to help you easily identify what leads need to be touched, where they're at, and what needs to be worked on next. Elizabeth, Libby, Hernando, Zach, Anthony, Hector just jumped in. Thank you for watching. We're doing the second half of our podcast right now where we're showing the power of tracking each individual lead. And we're also going to tell you how you can get your free version of these Excels as well in your own Google Drive.
Next up, campaign reports.
Yes.
So if your eyes aren't mush yet, this tab lets me pretty much take a look at every single campaign, bandit signs, cold calling, direct mail, whatnot, and pretty much organize it by person and by metric. So if I want to know the profits generated by Andy in this time period based on the campaign, it pulls that through a series of formulas. Same thing with closings and contracts. Some of these were dollar amounts, some of these are just count amounts. And the whole point of having all these things is so I know my numbers per team member, and so that when I'm actually putting my charts together, I can see graphically how they all stack up. And so this breaks it down from closings, contracts, offers, and appointments, and profits and closings, for the next half of the month. Once I have this entire table set up, then I can go to my scorecard actual, which is like the scorecard of every single person. So I've got formulas in here that pull from all these other places, so I can see a summary of each one. So Andy, for this time frame, did 300 bandits, 20 cold calls, actual made, door knocking contacts.
So this is a bird's eye view of everything.
So that I can get to this pretty chart. The whole point of all these things is to have a nice, pretty, multicolored chart that shows me.
The whole point of this entire Excel, I think, was to get to this
pretty
multicolor. Yes.
So blues are the bandits. So now I can see Dwight's bandits and Pam's bandits and Phyllis's bandits all in blue as a quick check from a manager 500-foot view. Here's how they're doing. Wow, Andy was a rock star on bandits, but boy, did he drop the ball on cold calling, and Dwight's my cold calling champ. I can see patterns and trends. I talked on Friday about narratives for tax delinquent patterns. I'm looking at narratives for performance. So I can see, Jim and Pam and Phyllis are part-time. They work 20 hours a week. They got a full-time job, while Andy and Dwight and Stanley are full-time. I can now start playing strategic general guy to figure out how to best put them in a position to succeed. If I know that someone's better at bandits than others, someone's better at cold calling than others, I can see who's performing and who's struggling and then put them in the right path.
So Frank, thank you for jumping in here. Dustin, you jumped over from the last video. Thank you very much. Lewis and Sean, y'all are rock stars as well. Thank you always for your support. Ask some questions. Give us some thoughts of what you think about these graphs or how you might implement this in your business so we can show you or converse with different ways that you can leverage this technology. And what I really love too, if we actually go back to the tab before this one, what I love looking at this data, which can go into the graphs as well, is I really love the fact that I can look at each person and what they are doing from a data standpoint. And not only that, if we, as you kind of move down, you can start seeing what the contracts are from people, the closings, the offers, the appointments. I know right now Andy has a bunch of contracts. He has 2 contracts in each category. He might be my rock star type person. It's because he's making all these offers. I need to have an understanding as the leader, as the owner, as the manager. I need to have an understanding of where my team is doing well and where they may be weak. Because each team member they're not going to be like you. You might have been a super rock star at closing deals because you have experience, you've been doing this for a while. But as you bring on more team members, people have different personalities, different strengths, different weaknesses. And you as the leader need to be always cognizant of what people are working on and what they're doing so that, hey, if they're weak on cold calls, let's have a cold call conversation and figure out what's going on there. Maybe it's the first cold call or how they're phrasing the first few words that's wrong. Maybe you need to talk about a script, or maybe you need to do cold calls for that individual to help guide them. And then the other thing is, on the other side of the equation, is you might have somebody on your team that's just a super rock star at bandit signs and puts out a ton of bandit signs and gets a bunch of deals from bandit signs. And that would be an indication to go talk to that person like, hey, what are you doing to be so proficient and so powerful in bandit signs that maybe we can do a training, maybe you do a training to the whole team so that everyone can be implementing the strategies that you've been doing that's been successful. So the whole team rises up in their skill level because you're able to look at data and use the data to help guide what you can be focusing on and how you can guide the team and lead the team. So that's why I love this information right here.
And so while he's talking, I'm playing around with the filters so you can see the story for each team member, or if you want to quickly do a Dwight versus Jim, who's more profitable? Because on the first half of the month, maybe one of them is out doing networking or doing other activities that aren't bringing money in just yet, or they're on vacation or whatever. But on the second half, the other, it swaps around. So this is very, very helpful to see how everyone is doing. This is why it's important to understand Excel at a minimum, these sorts of things. And then from there, again, the graphs really help tell the story graphically, really, really nice how everything works out on the scorecards.
And we're getting pretty close to tell you how to get your own free version of this spreadsheet, this Excel. But I see people are watching. Leave some comments so I know that you're actually seeing this information so we can get you, tell you how you can get this free Excel as it kind of goes over this next tab in the graphs.
Yeah, so the last piece I'm going to talk about this graph for scorecard actual, I wanted to separate my contacts made, which have a numerical range of 0 to 40, which is a smaller range than the big 0 to 300 on the, like what I call the gross numbers, the gross amounts, gross count of bandit signs, gross count of cold callings. Maybe I've got 300, 220 for Dwight, but he only got a hold of 20.
Sean says he sees it. You're my main man, Sean. I appreciate it. Let me know that y'all are watching. I see the hearts and the likes, but give me some comments too.
So this helps you see, too, who's actually performing on the more important metric, which is the contact made. You might be putting out a bunch of bandits or a bunch of doing cold callings, but you're horrible at some part of your job there where you're not actually getting the contacts. But everything is in due form. You've got to have the numbers for door knocking in order to have the numbers for door knocking contacts made, which will then get you door knocking contracts and appointments and solds and all those sorts of things. So they all serve an important purpose. So now we're going to go into data validation, tips and tricks. So
once you get this Excel, how you can manipulate it to be more customizable and can set it up to where it fits your business a little bit better.
Yeah. So the way this sheet has been set up is so that I've got a column for my teammates, a column for my motivation levels of my sellers, columns for campaigns, stages of leads, etc., etc.
We have a quick question.
Yeah.
Sean has a question. He goes, can you duplicate it by just making copies?
So you can duplicate the rows so that you have all the formulas and all the things in there. You can duplicate tabs as well by simply right-clicking on a tab and hit duplicate. So yes, there are things that you can duplicate for sure.
Right. And you can duplicate this Excel too if you have maybe two different teams or things like that. You're trying to keep them separate or whatever reason that you might have, so you can do it. Juan says, good stuff with the thumbs up. Hey, I appreciate you, Juan, watching. And then Elizabeth, Libby, she says, this is good even for people who work alone without a team. And honestly, I think it's even more important for the person who is by themselves. Because if you can, man, it's so amazing. I wish when I was by myself, I was doing a better job of tracking. Actually, I was pretty terrible about it. I was just kind of winging it, and I would just fall in my routines of what I felt I was good at or I was doing well. It wasn't until I started tracking when I started to be able to direct my efforts and actions towards the direction that was going to lead towards actual income and money in my pocket. So if you do it now while you're a one-person team and you build the habits now, you're going to know exactly what you're going to need to look for in your teammates as you start hiring on. And then when you hire somebody to be a manager or you promote someone to be a manager, you can teach them how to do this too. So if you start these habits now, this is going to be huge.
So we're now moving to the bonus round here of all the awesome freebies. And I got my little list that we're going to talk about. Why data validation is important. Talking about how we create the meeting your target formula, doing conditional formatting formulas for your targets, as well as other sorts of things. So we're going to start with data validation. So, by the way, this is going to be the free sheet that I'll give to those that meet the criteria that Marco will tell you in a minute. But let's say you're a CEO, you're a single wolf pack, awesome team of one, and you've got some activities that you're doing, some hustle activities, bandit signs, cold calling, and whatnot, networking events attended, whatever you want to throw in here. And so in order for these activities to be in a drop-down box, what you have to do is you right-click, you go to conditional, no, not conditional, it's data validation right here under data validation, and then you're going to select a list from a range. And so when I click on my range, I'm going to come over here to my data validation, and then I'm going to highlight the list. And it's going to show you the formula here, data validation, which is the name of the tab, and then this symbol, which is the exclamation point, that tells Excel to look at this range.
So really quick, just to kind of translate, you were on a different tab where you wanted the data to show in a particular cell. And then when you did the data validation, when you had to pick the data range, you clicked in a different tab to highlight this range right here, which was bandit signs through networking events. And it auto put the formula text in there for you, and then you just confirmed it, and now it's set up to where you have this drop.
Right. So I'm going to delete this because it doesn't really apply to this particular column, but that's pretty much how you will do that. So I can simply...
And really quick, we're starting to get some comments, so let's kind of go over this real quick. Dustin said in the last video, right when we had that cutoff, we were answering the question about alerts. Can you answer that question one more time?
Okay, so there are a couple of ways you can do this. One of them is through macros. If you know JavaScript, you can create automation macro script within Google Sheets.
Move us on the screen so we can see us a little bit.
Well, I think...
There we go. All right, keep going. Keep answering.
Okay, so there are YouTube videos and Google results that you can learn, search for on how to do that. There's also Zapier. You can create zaps. And zaps are little automation snippets that will communicate between two apps like Podio and Google Sheets. I believe one example could be if a new row entry is detected, then send an alert to such and such Podio, or you can send a text message or an email alert.
Basically create automations. Use the robots to take action for you.
So you can Google, how do I create a zap? And then you'll see all the results. Another way is if this, then that. If this, then that is something that I've used in the past for email alerts on Fitbit results. You can do the same thing for here. So Google if this and that. This is ifttt.com or .org, and then you can create recipes.
Dustin, I put those websites in the comment section for you under Hilco Homes.
Yes.
And then Hector says, this will be perfect for me since I currently work alone. Awesome way to keep track of my progress. Hector, I completely agree, and we're going to show you how you can get your free version of this. And then Sean says, does it keep KPIs, which KPIs stand for Key Performance Indicators, which that's basically what all of this is.
These are KPIs, Key Performance Indicators, metrics, targets achieved. There's different words for it.
Your goals, KPI is just a fancy, Silicon Valley way of looking at it. But it's basically what are the most important aspects of your business that you need to be paying attention to. That's what this whole spreadsheet is about.
And the most important thing, the most important value this sort of approach gives you is credibility in the investment community when you have a potential JV partner asking you, hey, how many deals are you averaging per month? I don't know. How many did you do last year? I don't know. Well, it'd be sure nice to say, well, I did 32 closings based on bandit signs and 42 in door knocking. You'll know your numbers like that. Even if you don't know the exact number right off the bat, because you've been doing this on a monthly, weekly, whatever basis, you have a general idea of what's going on.
Yes. We got another question from Elizabeth. Is this a service that you can offer for those that are good at tech?
So, short answer, yes. I do custom automation programming work and consulting and app building and spreadsheet building for people. We're going to give out a freebie version today so that you've got something you can use now. This particular accountability sheet is $100, and it comes as is, and it's got all the things set up that you need to get started with. But if you would like additional custom work, I am available for that sort of work.
So this Excel, he said, is $100 if you want to use it. Totally awesome. You don't have to have those monthly charges of having a CRM, especially if you're on the lower size of a team. It's like the Rolls Royce of spreadsheets for accountability.
And I've been a spreadsheet tester in Microsoft. I happen to have worked in the games division and in Microsoft Excel for Mac. And so I've tested a lot of formulas and pivot charts and tables.
He knows.
So I have insider knowledge.
So there you go. So this spreadsheet is like the Rolls Royce. It's got all the bells and whistles, has all these different things, the graphs and everything else. But he's also giving a free version, which is like the BMW Mercedes version of the Excel. And that's what we're looking at now. And he can show you what power this has.
So we're doing a more simplified version of the hustle activity log where you're putting in your target and your achieved in the same page. So instead of having this all listed out in a target planning sheet, throw it in here. And so the first thing we do is this data validation where you can select from the drop down your activity and your teammate based on activity here and here. And if you forget anything about how to create the validation, you can always Google it. There's YouTube videos, there's tutorials. It's pretty simple to do. You simply select a cell, you go to data validation, then you pick your list from the range that you want to constrain, set some options, rejecting the input or showing a warning, all this kind of stuff. And then that will then lock in the types of information you can put in. That way you don't have to type it or worry about typos. So now we're going to get into the activity log piece here. You can select yourself, if you don't have your team yet.
You can put in the whole team if you need to.
Yep. Put in your achieved amount, your target amount, the time period, and then this met target is a simple formula. If the cell in C2 is greater than or equal to the value in D2, set the value to true in this column or set it to false. And what's great is when you mouse over it, Google Sheets gives you the pop-up help on how to create this formula.
So the beauty of this Excel is Excel can be really confusing. With the formulas, unless you spend some time really studying it, it's hard to know the proper sequence to type it in and those type of things. Jason knows this stuff, and he's created this already for you that it's already populated. It has the proper cells associated. You can just, like you were asking earlier, Dustin, you can just duplicate the different rows as you need more stuff. So this is already set up. The framework, the skeleton is there. It's for you to put in the muscle part of your business into this Excel so you can kind of keep tracking and understanding as well. So, and I noticed you also included a personal activity realm. So we've been focusing on the business side from wholesaling perspective, phone calls, bandit signs, goals, tracking, do we hit where we are? But you also incorporated, hey, you know what? There's a reason we're in business. It's about trying to develop a holistic life, a life that's balanced and not just work, but also other items.
This is something that's come up to the forefront so many times. I work with a lot of big players here in town, trying to help them, give them some advice on optimizing their life. When you're running a team and you're running your business, where do you have time to run your own life? And so, like, I've threw some examples here of things that's important for me. Reading time, hours spent. This can be blogs. This could be forums. This could be books. I figure I don't want to constrain myself to X books read. I think I'm allocating X amount of hours per week to get some reading time done. How about I create that as a activity log? Quality time, hours with your significant other. Make sure you put in some quality time. You got date night, you do something. Even date night is watching YouTube videos on how to scale your business. Hey, get some wine, there you go. Or, as Libby would say, dog walking time. You should do some of that with the dogs. Get outside some. Very important.
That's when the best ideas come.
You want to get away from your machine, away from your computer, away from your desk, because your mind's going to still think of things. And at least get some exercise and quality time. Which brings to the next point. Miles walked, steps walked, whatever. Make sure you get your exercise. I'm a music person. I play many instruments. So I want to have some jam time to rehearse. I also want to have some new tunes that I listen to so we can put back into music appreciation. So we'll watch Queen videos at Wembley Stadium, of Live Aid, or we'll watch, Mumford & Sons or something interesting. Whatever it is for you, whether it's music or something else, you can.
I haven't watched Mumford & Sons in a while.
Yeah.
I might have to do that now.
So education time, podcasts, however you get them. Make sure you have some metric there for how many podcasts you're listening to or how many hours. Fully customizable. But the whole point of this is now you've got an easy to track personal activity log where you can then click in here and say, I want to set 5-hour target for this week of reading time. Oh, I achieved 4. Fail. I didn't meet my target. Quality time with my significant other. I think all significant others out there will appreciate if you make an effort to track your efforts in this piece. Miles walked, etc., etc.
And you can add to this by manipulating that last tab. You can add on whatever you want and make this your own.
More stuff.
But we got Quentin watching. Thank you for watching, Quentin, and everyone else watching.
More stuff.
Basically, it's a way to help you just keep accountable with yourself and be the best version of yourself. And by being the best version of yourself, you're going to see ample improvement in your business overall. And you're going to just level up month after month, year after year. And this all starts with being mindful of what you're doing and what you should be doing and what to be working towards.
And if it's time for you at some point to have nice, colorful charts like this of an activity chart for your own personal activity log, if you want a pie chart or a bar chart or a line chart, you can go to your heart's content or hire me to build that stuff for you. Do pretty colors.
So we have a few different things here. Tyrone, thank you for just jumping in. I appreciate it. If you have questions, let us know. We're about to let everyone know how you can get the free version of this Excel. So we started the whole Excel with the Rolls Royce. It's got all the bells and whistles. If you want that with the graphs and all the different tabs, that one's $100. You can reach out to Jason Brown. I'll tag him in this post, and he can hook you up. But if you're starting with a shoestring budget or you want to test it out before you upgrade to that Rolls Royce Excel, we still have this other badass Excel that Jason is giving away for free, and this is how you get it. Obviously, we're Facebook Live right now. We're focused on Facebook at this moment. If you share this video and you tag myself, Marco A. Romero, and Jason Brown in the post, then we will make sure to reach out to you and give you a free version of this Excel, this spreadsheet that you can start implementing and customizing and utilizing in your own business immediately. And if you want to be a super rock star, we did another video on Friday of last week where we talked about how to use spreadsheets to filter down leads to the best leads available that you can market at, focusing on tax delinquent. And Jason gave away a free Excel with that as well. So you can also share that video to get that free Excel. So you can get a double whammy if you really, really want to.
And so while he was talking, I was walking through examples of how you do conditional formatting, color-coded. So if you want your background cell to be green or red, if the value is true or false, how you do that is you go to Format, you go to Conditional Formatting, you add a new rule, and then you put in what your rule is. And so in my case, I put text is exactly, and then I type in the word true in all caps, and then I set my formatting style to green, and then click done. and then I add another rule. So these are the two formulas I've already created. I've got, if text is exactly true, set the formatting to green. And then I've got another formatting one, if the text is exactly false, set it to red. This is a starting point. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. I've done things in my tax delinquent formula sheets where I've got ranges of amounts owed, and I set anything between 0 and 1,000 owed to red, and then things from 1,000 to 10,000 yellow, and anything above 10 is green. It's a quick way to quickly check. So
the spreadsheet is really powerful. If you know how to do this conditional formatting, you can add more tweaks to this and make this your own. You have the fundamental spreadsheet set up for you to really play off of. But even if you don't, if you're not proficient in Excel or spreadsheets, that's okay, because Jason has done all the heavy lifting for you. He knows this stuff, and he's already made it, and it's here and done and available. And as long as you just play with what's in place, you'll be able to use this in your business right away.
There's now no excuse for you not to know basic metrics and things like this at future meetups. So if I see you around and I'm going to ask you, what are your metrics? You should know what those are. This at least gets you in the door. This is the freebie piece here. Anything more advanced, you can use my more advanced one at a cost, but this gets you started for free.
Again, to get this free Excel, this free spreadsheet, which is a Google Drive in the cloud, it won't ever get lost. All you need to do is share this Facebook post, tag myself, Marco A. Romero, and Jason Brown in the post, and we will make sure to get you your copy of this. Elizabeth says, this is a lot of information. It would make a good, and I'm going to say great, training video. So if we have a part 1 to this video, you can go back on our page and watch it. But always go back and rewatch this video so you can learn as well. How can people reach out to you, Jason?
So there are 3 ways. First way I recommend is follow our Instagram and Facebook page at Real Estate Nomads. We drop a ton of good nuggets there. You can add me on our...
It's Real Estate Nomads because y'all travel the world.
Because we travel. We work remotely. I've got my laptop. I got Wi-Fi. I've got a mobile device, mobile hotspot that works in 120 countries. So I can work in Africa or Prague or South America, wherever I want. So that's a good way. Also, on Facebook, Jason Brown 11 is my Facebook ID. You can add me as a friend there. You can also email me at jason@brownstonehs.com.
Yeah, his company name is Brownstone Home Solutions. What other services do you provide? Obviously, you have this Excel. You focus on helping individuals and teams with their accountability, which is this Excel and how to keep track using Google spreadsheets and graphs, those type of things. But what other services do you provide?
So I provide tax delinquent cleaning, analysis, and scrubbing services to help get your massive database direct from your county to a highly scrubbed
for numerous counties. Just name a few of the counties that you already service.
So my bot already supports the 4 major counties in Dallas: Collin, Denton, Tarrant, and Harris. Harris is Houston. So we got Dallas County, Tarrant, Collin, Denton. We got Bexar County here in San Antonio. I've got a couple of counties spread out throughout the country. It takes me usually between 4 to 6 hours to lock in new counties into my massive framework of analysis.
Right, and we did a video on Friday on the Hilco Homes Facebook page where we talked about, he started with 1 million leads from a tax delinquent list and then narrowed it down to the best few hundred, the best few thousand, and he showed you how he did it. And he also gave a free Excel so you can implement it in your own data collection. But with the counties he services, he only mentioned a few that he's already servicing. Even if you're in a completely different county that he didn't mention, if you get the data, and you get it to him, he can take his information, his spreadsheets, his bots, and go to town on that data set and help you with your lead set wherever you are. It doesn't matter. So reach out to him. Jason Brown is his name. Brownstone Home Solutions. He's got your back. If you want to follow him and just keep up to date with what he's working on and kind of see some of the cool places. You've been in Canada.
Yeah, we have a 2.5-month Airbnb in Canada, and some of the other things that we post on our site there, the Instagram, is examples of how we put our solar panels together, how we can live this remote lifestyle, what sort of tools we use, whether it's Voxer or Slack or Google Drive and Sheets, to be able to remotely run our business or manage our teams. so that you can do this anywhere, at home when you have kids, or if you want to be out camping in the boondocks.
So he literally, him and Libby traveled the world, and they are able to do this because they've built their business to operate remotely. So that's the lifestyle that most people want to live. So you can follow him to see how they do it. He gives a tons of tips about it. And then lastly, again, I know a lot of you are jumping in here at the end. We are giving away a free Excel, free spreadsheet that's a Google Drive Excel that you can use for accountability on keeping track of your own actions or your team's actions, whether it's bandit signs, cold calling, or mailers, keeping track of all these different items. He's giving this away for free. All you need to do is share this Facebook post, tag myself, Marco A. Romero, tag Jason Brown. I see that some people are already doing it. I saw America do it earlier. We're going to hook you up and give you a free copy of this. All right? Any parting words?
Let's see. If you need custom apps built for Podio or need any automation work done, hit me up. I can help you there as well. I'll be rolling out other tools and other things of value throughout the year. There's a ton coming.
He's got your back. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.